morning. I'm Rebecca White. I'm the Dean of the School of Law, and it is a sincere pleasure to welcome you to our beautiful North Campus. What a picture-perfect day and setting for our graduation. This is a special day, not only for the class of 2012 and their families, but for the law school community as well, and I'm pleased that so many of you are here to share it with us. And on behalf of the law school, I want to say thank you to those in the audience who have done so much to bring our graduates to this special day. Law school demands a lot, not only of its students, but from those who love them. After all, it does take more than academic ability to succeed in law school. It takes hard work, dedication, and money. Many of you in the audience have supported our students emotionally and financially before and during law school. Their success in many ways is your success as well. So I'd like to take a moment to recognize those who have helped make this day possible. And I'll ask you to please hold your applause to the end. Would the spouses, fiancés, and partners of our graduates please stand and remain standing? Would the parents of our graduates please stand? Would the grandparents of our graduates please stand? In-laws, time for you to stand as well. Brothers, sisters, children, other family members, and friends, please stand so the graduates can say thank you. This day belongs first and foremost to our graduates, so it is my honor to introduce the president of the third-year class, Rebecca McCorvey. Ms. McCorvey is originally from Savannah, and she earned her undergraduate degree in international business at the University of Georgia. During law school, Ms. McCorvey has been an active participant in the moot court program, competing in national and international competitions, for which she received 2 Oralist Awards. She also served as the executive articles editor of the Georgia Journal of International and Comparative Law, and served on the boards of several student organizations. Ms. McCorvey is this year's recipient of the William King Meadow Award, the Larry Blunt Award, and the National Association for Women Lawyers Award. Following graduation, she will join the law firm of Brian Cave, formerly Powell Goldstein, in Atlanta. Please join me in welcoming Ms. McCorvey.
Dean White, Sheriff Edwards, Judge Story, faculty, staff, family, friends, fellow graduates, zombies, vampires, witches, wizards, muggles, and everyone in between. Welcome to the commencement ceremony for the class of 2012. The day we've waited for is finally here. It's been a long 3 years, and we've been through a lot as a class. We've gone from the noisy, annoying 1Ls to complaining about the noisy, annoying 1Ls. From learn all the laws to learn all the laws. We survived our first year, only to find out that they lied to us about it being the hardest year. Thanks for nothing too well. We've frozen to death in the library. We've been through a demolition zone and the construction of the new and improved spaceship law school. We survived Lockergate 2011. Your graduate can explain that one to you later. We've mourned the end of the Harry Potter movies, only to be dressed like them today. And we've moved on to other obsessions, like the Hunger Games and Downton Abbey. We've also learned who had our backs. When asked, "Are we to be friends then?" the Dowager Countess on Downton Abbey responded, "We're allies, my dear," which is a good deal more effective. That sums up law school sometimes. We've also grieved the loss of a beloved professor, Anne Prophet Dupree, who was a guiding light for so many of us. One of Professor Dupree's favorite sayings was, "If you fail to plan, you plan to fail." A phrase that echoes in my mind every time I consider procrastinating. In fact, many of us went through our last 2 years of law school trying to live up to her standard, measuring tasks by WWADD, what would Anne Dupree do? We love you, Professor Dupree, and we know that you're here with us in spirit today, cheering us on. There's nothing like law school to show you who you really are, what you stand for, and that in large part is based on the people you have behind you who are helping to ground you and who've supported us. So we want to say thank you to you, our family, our friends, for putting up with us for 3 years. You've been there for our nervous breakdowns and our triumphs. You've talked us out of dropping out all 100 times we contemplated it first year. You supplied us with endless amounts of highlighters and tabs. Yes, we do need that many. You've been understanding, even when we couldn't come home for holidays, vacations, birthdays. You've listened to our whining about this thing called the curve and about how A's are a thing of the past. And you've been understanding when we couldn't take your phone call or just chat about nothing, and even when we went on and on about how busy we were. You were kind enough not to just tell us to get over ourselves. You've encouraged us through a terrible employment market and believed in our ability to do anything we put our minds to. You put up with our new manic work style of working ridiculously hard and losing sleep and then playing even harder when the work was done. You've even loved us during finals period, which is an entire month where we are unshaven, unshowered, and in stretchy pants even when we're nowhere near a gym. You've watched our cooler selves that we were before law school dissipate into pasty, library, and coffee shop addicts who rarely see the sun, and you've loved us anyway. So thank you. And what, may you ask, has your love, patience, support produced? Well, this year's class has veterans and active duty service members, parents, caretakers, first-generation college graduates, athletes, and musicians. And despite all of those life experiences that we had before law school, most of us still feel like we worked harder in law school than ever before. We're all really good friends, probably because no one else could stand to put up with us for long periods of time. We make terrible jokes about legal concepts we're learning that no one else finds funny. We edit articles and newspapers for mistakes like the difference between tortious and tortuous. Wow. Hashtag first world problems. We get ridiculously excited about anything that is free. Do not get in the way of us and free food, and do not think that we don't need another water bottle or free t-shirt because we want it. We also manage multiple GChat windows like it's our job, and we obsess about Pinterest and Tumblr, really anything to distract us from the craziness that has been law school. But this experience has also taught us to think like lawyers. There's a saying that great lawyers are made, not born. And we've spent 3 years becoming great advocates. Now you thought that was a great thing. Free legal advice for your friend. But what that really translates into, as you probably found out, is us being more obnoxious than ever. Before law school, we were probably pretty good at arguing, but now we're trained. After all, Professor Coonan did teach us to argue against ourselves, and Professor Rutledge taught us to think on top of the table, and Professor Casey taught us how to artfully concede a point without losing the argument. But in our personal lives, you're going to find that this really begins usually with the phrase, well, technically, and then we're probably not backing down a couple hours later. As my family now says, don't lawyer me. You'll also notice that when you just want to vent about something or just plan a party, we're analyzing all the potential legal problems in that fact pattern you're mentioning. Is there an email trail? You are going to have everybody at your pool party sign a release, right? You do know that a contract made when you're high as a Georgia pine, i.e. drunk, is still enforceable, right? We are really party poopers. At the same time, hopefully it's now great to have a baby lawyer in the family. Now, some of us came to law school in part to one day be able to say things like, in the words of Ron Burgundy, I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of a big deal. People know me. I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books, and my apartment smells like mahogany. But most of us came to law school to make a difference, and we started that here at Georgia Law. We've raised money for tsunami victims, participated in service days, participated in toy drives, food drives, all while living on student loans and stretching our budgets. We're also one of the only classes, if not the only class, to successfully pull off a prank on Professor Eaton. See, in Professor Eaton's class, it's very strict no cell phones policy, meaning if your cell phone goes off, you need to pack up immediately without a word and leave the classroom. This happened a couple of times during our first year. So on April Fool's Day, Section X planned to have all of their cell phones go off at 9:39, just when Professor Eaton was in the middle of the rhythm of his lecture. And after looking like he would literally murder each and every one of us, and we believed him, he was a really great sport. And we contemplated doing that today, but we decided against it, so you're welcome, Judge Story. In all seriousness, though, when this class has seen a need or wanted something to be different, we've advocated for that improvement. We've reenacted the trial that led to desegregation of the University of Georgia. We pressed for changes in the handbook. We made proposals for class credits for journals and advocacy programs. We started a new law and politics group as the genesis for a new academic publication. And we've increased recognition for students and faculty who devote themselves to public interest work. And that's just to name a few. This is a strong, kind, passionate group that is now united around the powerful tool called the law. I'm proud to be a part of this class, knowing what kind of students we've been, and therefore what kind of lawyers we will be. So congratulations, class of 2012, we made it. Thank you. It is an honor to introduce to you the president-elect of the University of Georgia Law School Alumni Association, Ms. Cynthia Curtis. Ms. Curtis is a Georgia native and earned her undergraduate degree in 1988 and her law degree in 1991, both from the University of Georgia. Ms. Curtis recently joined Morehouse School of Medicine as Chief of Staff and has more than 20 years of legal experience, both in private and in-house practice settings. Her early work experience was in litigation with the law firm of Powell Goldstein, where she practiced for 5 years and acquired comprehensive background in corporate litigation and government and bank investigations. Ms. Curtis then transitioned into in-house practice as a litigator with the federal government. There, she was responsible for enforcing compliance with health and human service regulations and other government guidelines for disability claims. She also served for 4 years as general counsel of a small, privately owned international telecommunications consulting company. In 2000, Ms. Curtis joined the largest accounts receivable management company and debt buyer in the United States as general counsel and chief privacy officer. In this role, she established the legal and compliance departments of this heavily regulated organization and served as the company's liaison with both state and federal regulatory authorities. Most recently, Ms. Curtis served as Deputy General Counsel of the Atlanta Independent School System, where she managed the day-to-day legal operations of the Office of the General Counsel and supervised the district's legal staff. At this time, I would like to ask Ms. Curtis, Dean White, and Micah Engler, Vice President of the Class of 2012, to come forward for the presentation of the class gift.
Thank you, Rebecca, for your kind introduction. Judge Story, Dean White, distinguished platform guests, law school faculty and administration, family and friends, and the class of 2012, on behalf of the Law School Association, I welcome you and I'm honored to be here with you on this special day. In the coming year, I will have the pleasure of serving as president of the Law School Association, which is the law school's alumni body. Today, class of 2012, I stand in awe of the energy and intellectual rigor you have invested in earning your degree, and I am proud to declare each of you members in good standing of the Law School Association. My pride in you is born out of a sincere appreciation and understanding of what you have accomplished. Your graduation from the law school is a remarkable achievement, and I wish to be among the first to say congratulations and thank you for your generous class gift of over $89,000, which is the largest class pledge ever. Rest assured that the money you've given will be put to good use in the form of scholarships and student and faculty support. This year, $481,000 was awarded in scholarships to students here at the University of Georgia School of Law. This amount is 68% of the total gifts to the Law School Fund for this year. In the coming academic year, the Law School Association will provide more than $500,000 in scholarships to recruit incoming students. All of these scholarship dollars are funded solely from private gifts made by fellow alumni, administration, and faculty members, as well as friends of the law school. Unlike other private and some public law schools, only private funds can be used for scholarship dollars at Georgia's public law schools. Several of you were beneficiaries of scholarships and know firsthand the value they added to your law school experience. These scholarships represent an investment in your future and an investment in your law school. Today marks the start of our journey together as alumni, and I encourage all of you to follow the example set by fellow alumni. Become involved in Alumni Matters. Keep the law school informed of your accomplishments and life events, and continue to contribute to the law school's fundraising efforts. At a time when we are all doing more with less, your investment in the law school will pay great dividends and help to maintain this school's status as one of the nation's premier law schools. It is a reality that law schools are heavily measured by LSAT scores and GPAs. We will continue to enhance our standing if we're able to offer competitive scholarship dollars. As new graduates of the University of Georgia School of Law, after 3 years of intense study and hard work, you share a bond with one another. Over the years, you will find this bond is more than friendship. Your classmates will attend your wedding. They will travel with you on vacation. They will watch your children. They will send you most of the emails you receive for the rest of your life. They will send you clients and perhaps even vouch for you at Senate confirmation hearings. I want you to know that the bond is greater than yourselves because you share it with over 9,000 living alumni, men and women from diverse backgrounds and interests who had similar dreams, similar trials, and similar triumphs. Rest assured, the Bulldog Law Nation is large, strong, and proud. As you move from the academic world, please know that your legal education here at the University of Georgia School of Law has provided you with a solid foundation, and remember that the law school, its administrators, its faculty, and yes, its alumni are valuable resources upon whom you can call. The school's alumni join your family and friends in celebrating your graduation and in wishing you much continued success. I know you will all make us proud. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Paul Kurtz. I'm a professor here at the law school and Associate Dean for Academic and Student Affairs. This morning's ceremony is appropriately focused on the graduates who will receive their degrees. I truly wish each of you could see the view from here, all the smiles on the faces of parents, spouses, family, and friends who are gathered to celebrate the collective achievements of this extremely talented group of soon-to-be attorneys. But before turning to the joyful task of formally recognizing them, it is my honor to recognize and ask you to thank a group of dedicated men and women who have spent a great deal of time over 3 years helping the class of 2012 reach this day. I speak, of course, of the distinguished faculty of the University of Georgia School of Law. a group that I have been a proud member of for exactly 37 years. These men and women have worked inside and outside the classroom to prepare this class for the practice of law of the 21st century. Through such activities as formal instruction, supervision of papers, judging mock trial and moot court arguments, career advisement, recommendation letters, academic counseling, curriculum development, sponsorship of extracurricular activities, and encouragement through the sometime rocky path of the law school experience, the faculty has provided guidance and role modeling for these graduates. Speaking for the faculty, I can assure you that while we are very proud of our production in terms of books and articles and law reform and other similar things, we are at least as proud of the education that we provide these students and of the graduates we send into the legal profession. Just as we have been there for them during their time here, we are delighted to have a chance to be here for them this morning also. I'm exceedingly proud to ask my colleagues of the University of Georgia Law School faculty to stand and receive recognition and thanks. And for those of you who are doing the math, I did join the faculty 37 years ago, and I was 7 when I joined the faculty. I'm now pleased to introduce to you the Vice President of the Law School's class of 2012, Mr. Micah Engler. Please hold your applause till the end of the introduction. Mr. Engler is originally from Chicago. As an undergraduate at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, he studied Hebrew, and he had the opportunity to study abroad at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. Mr. Engler has distinguished himself as a student while at Georgia Law. He has served as notes editor of the managing board of the Georgia Journal of International and Comparative Law, served 3 consecutive years as an elective member of the Honor Court hearing panel, and was selected as a pupil in the Chattahoochee American Inn of Court in Gainesville. Mr. Engler.
Thank you. Before I introduce our distinguished speaker, I just want to say a few very quick thank yous, but I do appreciate how hot it is out there in the sun. To my family, to those that are here today, and to those that were not able to attend, I just want to thank you for everything. Thank you for putting up with me these last 26 years, of which the last 3 were probably a little bit more difficult. I don't know if I would be here right now if it weren't for you, and even if I were, it would not be nearly as sweet without having each of you in my life. To the UJ Law faculty and administration, thank you for your continued support and encouragement these last 3 years. UJ Law is a very special place, and that is in no small part because of each and every one of you. Because of you, I will be a better attorney, and I will be a better person. And last but not least, to my classmates, the class of 2012, thank you for giving me the privilege of being your vice president this year. It has been an absolute honor to serve on your behalf and to work alongside our fearless president, Rebecca McCorvey, who never ceases to amaze me. Thank you. And now, on behalf of the class of 2012, I'm pleased to introduce the Honorable Richard Story, a United States District Court judge for the Northern District of Georgia and a member of the Georgia Law class of 1978. He has served on the federal bench since 1998, hearing such high-profile cases as the Coca-Cola race discrimination case and the trial of former City of Atlanta Mayor Bill Campbell. He also sat with the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals for the case involving the placement of the 10 Commandments in the Alabama Supreme Court. Presently, he is the chair of the Federal State Jurisdiction Committee of the Judicial Conference of the United States. Judge Story has previously served as a Superior Court judge for the Northeastern Judicial Circuit of Georgia from 1986 to 1998. Where he was a chief judge for the latter 5 years. He also served as a juvenile court judge in Hall County, as a special assistant attorney general representing the state of Georgia in child support and custody cases, and as a partner in the Gainesville law firm Halsey, Oliver, and Mahar. While in Superior Court, Judge Story served as the administrative judge for the 9th Judicial District of Georgia, and as a member of the Judicial Council of Georgia and the Georgia Courts Automation Commission. His wife, Nancy Duffy Story, is with us today, and we thank her for coming. The judge and Mrs. Story have 3 children and 1 grandchild, Of special note, their daughter Elizabeth is also a graduate of Georgia Law, earning her degree in 2010. Please join me in welcoming Judge Richard Story.
Thank you, Micah, for that kind introduction. And thank you also for not asking Dean Kurtz or Professor Ellington to introduce me. You see, they were both members of the faculty and taught me while I was here as a law student many years ago, and I'm confident that they are both still in a state of shock that with all of the outstanding scholars of the class of 1978, somehow I'm the person from that class who was asked to come and deliver a graduation address. While I joined them in that shock, I am also honored and humbled by the opportunity to be asked to return to my alma mater and address the new graduates is indeed a high honor. Congratulations to you, the members of the law school class of 2012. Just over 3 years ago, you received a letter in the mail from the University of Georgia School of Law telling you that you had been accepted into this class. When you got that letter, you were not really sure what was ahead of you. You knew that you had reached a goal by simply getting into the class. You had worked hard during your undergraduate career to earn your degree and to build a record that would let you have this opportunity. But the day you got that letter, you could not possibly know what was ahead of you. Then you came to Athens, ready to start your classes, and before your first class ever even met, you received assignments. When you first saw the assignments, though, you thought this is not really going to be that bad. How bad can it be? 10 or 15 pages per class to read? That can't be all that tough. I can get through that fairly quickly. And then you started to read the assignments, and you could not believe it. You would read a page, and then you would think, what did I just read? This stuff is so dense. Who wrote these opinions? I thought all lawyers wrote like John Grisham. Where did these judges learn to write? It began to dawn on you that law school probably would be unlike anything you had ever done before. And maybe it was not going to be as much fun as you thought it would be. But you were not deterred. I'm sure you were discouraged at times, perhaps that 100 times you thought about dropping out. All of you were accustomed to being in the top of your class. B's were not a part of your world. All of a sudden, a B didn't look too bad. You realized you just had to keep working. You figured out that law school was not a sprint, it was an endurance race. You stayed the course, and now you find yourself here today, about to receive your degree. 3 years ago, you were not really sure what it was going to take to reach this point, but you believed this day would arrive for you. You set a goal. You kept going, and today is sweet victory. The kind of perseverance required to survive law school reminds me of a favorite story about my father as he was growing up on a farm in rural Georgia in the mid-1930s. When he was 5 years old, his older sister Vera had received a new lunchbox at the beginning of the school year, and on the first day of school, she boarded the school bus with her new lunchbox and headed off to school. But that afternoon, when she returned, it turned out that she had left the new lunchbox at school. Well, as you can imagine, there were many tears and much anguish about having left the new lunchbox at school. However, after a time, she calmed down and went about the business of her day. As evening approached, my grandmother told Vera to go out and call her brother in for supper. She went out and called my dad, but got no response. She walked down to the scupping and vine, down near the well where he played with a little fort down there, thinking he was probably there, but she couldn't find him. She walked out to the fields and called to him, but got no response. She walked down past the fields to the woods and called time and again and got no answer. She returned to the house and told my grandmother she couldn't find her little brother. My grandmother joined her in calling to my dad, but still no response. Then my grandfather became involved, and he too went out calling for my dad as darkness began to approach, but still no response. Finally, one of them noticed far down the dirt road that ran in front of their house a small little cloud of dust that seemed to be moving down the road toward them. They walked down to the road and looked off in the distance, and there they saw my dad, pedaling as hard as he could on his little tricycle. And hanging on the handlebar of that tricycle was a shiny new lunchbox. Now, that's certainly a sweet story. But when you fully understand the sacrifice that my dad made that day, it was even more meaningful. When my grandmother first told me this story, I was impressed, but the more details I acquired, the more I appreciated the power of absolute commitment. It turns out that when our little hero saw his sister in distress, he gave no consideration to the obstacles that might befall him in trying to retrieve that prized lunchbox. He simply got on his tricycle and he started to pedal. At the age of 5, he did not take into account that the entire route would be on a dirt road. He did not take into account that the distance to the school was 4 miles. Now, one of the interesting things in my experience as a judge as I watch people testify, what I have learned is that most people have absolutely no perception of time or distance. So I'm going to help you out a little bit here because I've said 4 miles and something went through your head, and I'm guessing you're wrong. So I'm going to help you know what 4 miles is. Early this morning, I got up because I wanted to be precise and give you something that you could relate to. And I got up and got in my car and drove down to the bottom of the hill at the law school and headed toward town on Lumpkin. And when I got to Broad Street, I turned left and headed toward Atlanta. When I got to the Varsity, I had driven a mile. When I got to Alps, I had driven 2 miles. When I got to Target, or for the more refined of you, Target, I had driven 4 miles. That distance on a tricycle. And then you got to pedal 4 miles getting back. Okay, call me a little bit crazy, but I went over the top of this thing. I decided, wow, that is so amazing. How many times do you have to pedal that tricycle? I calculated it. And my calculations are 8,448 times to get there and 8,448 times to get back. Several years ago, I recounted this story in a speech when my father was present, and he came up to me after the speech and said, "Rick, there's a part of this story that your grandmother told you that she does not know." It turns out that after pedaling all that way to the school was locked. Not to be deterred, he was able to jimmy open one of the windows, climb in, and retrieve the lunchbox. As the graduates to my right have already figured out, and as we know, the statute of limitations has now passed on that offense. So I'm able to share that story with you, not to indict my father, but to tell you that when you set your sights on your goal, you cannot let what may seem to be even a huge obstacle get in the way of reaching that goal. For my dad, his goal was clear. He knew what he wanted, and he would not be deterred. The goal was worth it. The look on his sister's face when he handed her that lunchbox was worth every pedal of that little tricycle. Well, folks, you are here today because of that same kind of resolve. You set a goal. You persevered. You've been pedaling like crazy for 3 years, and now you will receive your degree. Now, I'm not so naive to believe that today represents the completion of that ultimate goal that you set before you came here. The reality is that today is actually only a step toward your ultimate professional goal, albeit an essential step. We all know there's more work to be done. We won't even talk about that nasty little test you have to take this summer. But beyond that, you must find your way into the profession. In the present economic times, I know that seems like a daunting task. Jobs are not plentiful. It will be easy to again become discouraged. It will be easy to question whether it was even worth it to continue the quest that you began 3 years ago. Well, my message to you today is twofold. First, do not give up. You have shown your tenacity by earning the right to be here today. You are not quitters. Second, going the distance will not only be worth it, it is essential to all of us that that it's essential to us that you take your place in this honorable profession that we call the practice of law. Why is it essential that you, as we here at Georgia like to say, finish the drill? Because the health of our system of justice is critical to the health of our nation. From the founding of this democracy, the importance of the role of courts to our system of government has been recognized. Alexander Hamilton in the Federalist Papers wrote that independent courts of justice are essential because of their duty to guard the Constitution and the rights of individuals, especially against serious oppression of the minor party in the community. Through the years, writers have extolled the role of the courts. For example, William Faulkner reflects the prominence of the court in his description of a simple county courthouse: a square, the courthouse in its grove, the center. Quadrangular around it, the stores, school and church and tavern and bank and jail, each in its ordered place. But above all, the courthouse, the center, the focus, the hub, sitting, looming in the center of the county's circumference like a single cloud, musing, brooding, symbolic and ponderable, tall as cloud, solid as rock, dominating all. Protector of the weak, judiciate and curb of the passions and lusts, repository and guardian of the aspirations and hopes. The high calling of the courts was beautifully described in my fictional hero, Atticus Finch. In his closing argument in Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird, when he was trying to save the life of Tom Robinson, he talked about, and of course this story was set in 1935, he talked about the importance of courts and what they must be in our society. When he said to that jury, in this year of grace, we're beginning to hear more and more about Thomas Jefferson's phrase about all men being created equal. But we know all men are not created equal in the sense that some people are smarter than others. Some people make more money. Some people have more opportunity because they're born with it. And some people are born gifted beyond the normal scope. But there is one way in which all men are created equal. There is one human institution that makes the pauper the equal of a Rockefeller, that makes the stupid man the equal of an Einstein, and the ignorant man the equal of any college president. That institution is a court of law. Our courts are the great levelers, and in our courts, all men are created equal. I am no idealist to believe so firmly in the integrity of our courts and the jury system. This is no ideal to me. This is a living, working reality. You are joining a profession today that has a unique role in our democracy. People love to disparage lawyers and our entire system of justice, yet they often fail to see that it is the very system that preserves and protects their most basic freedoms. In this democracy that we enjoy, the courts are the final defense when government seeks to abridge the rights of individuals. Now, I recognize that courts have not always stepped up to the challenge, but we usually finally get there. The degree you are receiving today makes you an integral part of this system. The role of courts in our democracy has never been more important than it is today. In difficult times, our resolve sometimes weakens. We're willing to consider the relinquishment of our rights in the name of safety or security. The courts assume the responsibility of protecting those individual rights and freedoms, even in hard times. These rights and freedoms are at the core of our democracy. As Dr. Martin Luther King said, when the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The only way courts can function is through lawyers. Many graduation speakers tell the young graduates that those of us who have gone before you have messed up the world, and now we look to you, the new young graduates, to set things right. Well, that is not my message to you today. I tell you that while we have had our shortcomings, the lawyers and courts of this land have struggled mightily to honor the promise about which Dr. King spoke. And now you have been equipped over these last 3 years to take up the mantle of this profession and to assure that the dream lives for generations to come. And that is my challenge to you today. Pursue your professional dream by whatever means you choose. You may choose to defend the accused or to prosecute the guilty or to advise businesses on commercial matters, but never forget that you have a professional responsibility to protect the freedoms and rights of all people in this great land. You have a duty to keep the dream alive. Borrowing from Atticus Finch one last time. In the name of God, do your duty. Good luck to all of you, and thank you for letting me be with you today.
Thank you, Judge Story, for your very inspiring remarks. That was a wonderful speech. I'm sure when we face challenges, we're going to think about a little 5-year-old on a tricycle on a dirt road and realize we can get there. It's really been an honor to have you with us for the commencement ceremony. I now want to take a moment to explain how the ceremony will proceed. We have with us today, in addition to our JD candidates, candidates for the Master of Law degrees. These candidates, whose degrees are actually conferred by the graduate school at a university-wide ceremony, will be introduced this morning by our Associate Dean, Paul Kurtz. Associate Dean Kurtz will then introduce our faculty marshals, and after that, our JD candidates will receive their degrees. The honorary marshals will call the names for the class of 2012, and the graduates will come across the stage as their names are called. If you want to come forward and take pictures, you're most welcome to do so. Following the conferring of the degrees and the recessional, we invite you to join us for more picture taking on the lawn. And now, Associate Dean Kurtz.
The JD degree is not the only degree offered at the University of Georgia Law School. The Master of Laws degree is an additional degree. It is a program that attracts students from all over the world. And as Dean White said, this degree is formally conferred by the graduate school at a separate ceremony, but we want to take this opportunity to recognize the LLM students in the class of 2012. From Nigeria, Olakpeju Ayala Akintola. From the United States, Jeanette Rebecca Cox. From the United States, Rena Holmes. From China, Stone Hu. From Belarus, Mikhail Ivanchik. From Northern Ireland, Alistair McMaster. From France, Raphael Mistre. From Germany, Juliana Tone. From China, Zhe Xuan Chao. My next honor is to introduce the faculty marshals elected by the class of 2012. But before I do that, I want to briefly address them and to remind them that there is always a home here at the law school for you. And keep in mind that you not only take a little piece of us with you, but you leave a little piece of you with us. And we are always here for you, and we look forward to working with you in the years to come and to follow your progress as you make your way. It's my honor to introduce the two faculty marshals elected by the class of 2012, who are not only colleagues of mine, but dear friends. In alphabetical order, Lonnie T. Brown, Jr. joined the faculty of the University of Georgia Law School in the fall of 2002, and 8 years later, in 2010, was appointed the A. Gus Cleveland Distinguished Chair of Legal Ethics and Professionalism. He teaches courses in civil procedure, the law and ethics of lawyering, ethics in litigation, and conflict of laws. In 2007, Professor Brown was the recipient of the inaugural C. Ronald Ellington Award for Excellence in Teaching, formerly the Student Bar Association Faculty Book Award for Excellence in Teaching. He is also a 5-time recipient of the Student Bar Association's Professionalism Award. Most recently, he was selected as a Senior Teaching Fellow for the 2011-12 academic year by UGA's Center for Teaching and Learning, and a member of the UGA Teaching Academy, which recognizes exemplary contributions to teaching. Professor Brown earned his Juris Doctor degree from Vanderbilt University, where he was a Patrick Wilson Scholar and Editor-in-Chief of the Vanderbilt Journal of Transnational Law. He earned his bachelor's degree from Emory University. Dan T. Coonan has served on the University of Georgia Law School faculty since 1987. He teaches in the area of contract and constitutional law. In 2008, Professor Coonan was named the holder of the Harmon W. Caldwell Chair in Constitutional Law, having previously held the title of J. Alton Hush Professor of Law since 1997. He was also awarded the title of University Professor in 2005. The university professorship, awarded to no more than one UGA faculty member per year on the campus, is reserved for professors who have served as change agents at the university and had a significant impact on the university in addition to fulfilling their normal academic responsibilities. In 2011, he was appointed the law school's Associate Dean for Faculty Development. His work in this role focuses on mentoring junior faculty members. He received in 1998 the Josiah Meigs Award, the university's highest honor for excellence in teaching, and has been selected by students on multiple occasions as the recipient of the Faculty Book Award for Excellence in Teaching. He earned his bachelor's degree from the University of Wisconsin and his law degree from Cornell University, where he served as editor-in-chief of the Cornell Law Review.
On behalf of the law school, I'd like to say a few words to our students and soon-to-be graduates. It is often said that law school is a life-changing experience, and I believe that is true. Law school does change the way you see and think about the world around you. I have little doubt that you are a more analytical thinker now than you were when you entered law school. Law school essentially trains you to better see the shades of gray. It also provides you the tools you need to help transform the world around you. People will listen to you more closely and will be guided by you because you are a lawyer. Your legal training and your license to practice law allow you to accomplish things others simply cannot. That is an awesome responsibility. As a member of our law faculty, I can think of no greater privilege than to have had a role in shaping the lawyers you will become. I can promise you that the hard work you put into law school will stand you in good stead after you leave here. It is our wish for you that your continued hard work will result in both professional and personal satisfaction. We are proud of the law students you were and of the lawyers you soon will be. Also know and remember that when you leave here, you carry our hopes and our reputation with you. The lawyers you become, the imprint you make on the legal profession and on the local, national, and international landscapes in which you practice are part of our legacy as well. I believe that the University of Georgia School of Law has done well by you, and I am confident that you will do well by us. And now, will all the candidates for the degree of Juris Doctor please rise? By the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents of the University System of Georgia and delegated to me by the President of the University of Georgia, I now confer upon you the degree of Juris Doctor for which you have been recommended by the faculty with all the rights and privileges thereto appertaining. Congratulations.
Dana Marcus Adams. Shantilia Khalees Attaway. Jackson Marshall Allen. Gregory Shilton Anderson. Sarah Marie Andrzejewski. Emmanuel Arzi. Nicole Marie Babcock. Andrew Michael Bagley. Melissa Lottie Bailey. Nicholas Cole Baker. Ashley Rachel Ball. Latasha Danielle Barnes. Robert James Beckwith. David Baggerly Bell, Jr. Michael Thomas Bell. Karen Suzanne Bemis. Quinn Curtis Bennett. Amanda K. Seals Bursinger. Catherine Mariska Bisco. Bailey Ann Blair. Brittany Heather Bolton. Christopher Ryan Brialt. Benjamin Paul Brighton. Robert Bradford Brizendine. James Patrick Brooks. Amanda Alexandra Brown. Christopher Eric Bruce. Sarah Joy Bryan. Clara Elise Bryant. Damian M. Breiche. Carrie Reed Burke. Rachel Denise Caldwell. Patrick John Canna. Carolyn Griffin Carmody. William Frederick Carter III. Jennifer L. Case. John Douglas Cates V. Maureen Ann Charlatan. Hillary Lynn Chenigo. Jordan Stephen Kreitzberg. Ashley Linnell Clark. Christopher Lynn Clare. Michael Thomas Kokenauer. Michael Schaefer Cohn. Catherine Simpson Cornwell. Sadie Renee Craig. William Flowers Crozer. Kylie Siktich. Michael Thomas Davis. Robert Corey Deal. Michael Dane Dariso. Greg Octave DeBacher. Mary Leanna Degenhardt. Ashley Danielle Dennis. Samuel Richard D'Entremont. Michael Douglas DeTardo. Samuel Garrett Dement. Morgan Elizabeth Duncan. Leah Danielle Duras. Isabella Ruth Edmondson. Daniel Lee Eggerman. Micah Simcha Engler. Catherine Morgan Enzer. Scott Spencer Aaron. Hallie Elizabeth Espy. Peyton Morris Etheridge. James Cullen Evans. Stephen Robert Favor. Kara Ray Fiore. Sarah Christina Fish. Robert Tyler Fisher. Andrew Duke Frederick. Jade Bagwell Futo. Eric Joseph Garber. Jennifer Lynn Gathercole. Charles Thomas Gibbons. William Robert Genelat. Erica Faith Gilbert Wason. Stephanie Elaine Goddard. Philip Mitchell Gu. Mary Elizabeth Googe. Andrew David Grace. Mary Catherine Graber. Lindsay Michelle Green. Christopher Herbert Gunderson. Lennon Banks Haas. Catherine Weaver Hall. Alexis Leon Hamilton. Sonia Lynn Hannafy. Robert Clay Harris. Douglas Michael Henenfent. Andrew Brian Henson. Michael Thomas Henson. Charles Benton Hilburn. Michael McDonnell Hill. Amanda K. Holcomb. Justin William Holloway. Catherine Daly Holt. Zachary Sprouse Howard. Rachel Aaron Hudgens. Joshua Christopher Huff. Derek Edward Hughes. Jeffrey Wong. Benjamin Leroy Hutton. Andre Vlad Ionescu. Rachel Diana Ivy. Michelle Danielle Izquierdo. Kareem Jetha. Kalida Nua Johnson. Kimberly Brianna Maria Jones. Sharita Nicole Jones.
Ridwan Sadiq Khan. Jihei Diana Kim. Sarah Meredith Kluberdans. James Hunter Knowles. Derek John Krebs. Rachel Suzanne Lambert. Kate Chaplin Lawson. Nicholas Jarrett Lawton. Whitney Brooke Lay. Jeffrey Locke Lee Jr. Ming Lee. Ronald Dwayne Leggett Jr. Laura Elizabeth Little. Tamara Lee Maddox. Connor Lee McGill. Trevor Joseph Maitland. Chadrick Alexander Mance. Lauren Ashley Mansour. Amanda Elise Matfeld. Rebecca Denise McCorvey. Jennifer Walker McNeely. Samuel Ethan Meller. Hillary Claire Miller. Madeline Jane Mitchell. Tyler Allen Moore. Parker Crawford Morgan. Kanika Moss. B. Clark Nash. Matthew Jonathan Neal. Samson Cleveland Newsom II. Mai Wak Win. Courtney Nichols. John Finley Niedrak. Jennifer Elizabeth Nix. Robert Ernest Noble III. Daniel Jeffrey Noyce. Lara Ortega. Andrea Souls Owen. Danielle Nicole Pascal. James Edward Patton. Ann Woodard Perlman. Laura Pinion. Megan R. Plants. Vicky Samuela Poliard. Alexander Burris Pope. Shauna Marie Portner. Amanda Irene Rose Powell. Kimberly Bray Price. Amanda Dawn Proctor. Bradley Gray Proctor. Carrie Elizabeth Pusha. Stephanie Muller Purcell. James Andrew Purcell. Caitlin Adele Pine. Christian Boyd Rhodes. Jasmine Ann Rice. John Britton Rice. Teresa Elizabeth Francis Rinderknecht. David Samuel Robertson. James Alexander Robertson. Eric Lane Roden. Nicholas Alexander Rollader. Grayson Charles Ruback. Samuel Hancock Sabulis. Ali Sabsavari. Jessica Christine Samford. Alexander Michael Shari. Megan M. Scheller. Alex Musaleh Shali Shali. Mark A. Silver. James Francis Simpson. Charles Rufus Smith IV. Walter Ryan Smith. Erin Brittany Souls. Christopher Edward Stokes II. Richard Blake Stone. Alexandra Strang. Ryan Patrick Sagru. Erica Copeland Saboda. Karen E. Tannenbaum. Jean Marie Tankersley. Hillary Anna Taylor. Kenneth Sean Thaxton. Kendall Maureen Thompson. Benjamin Robert Thompson. Triniel Nicole Tillman. William Lowell Tomlin. Miguel Alejandro Trujillo. Lindsay Sullivan Tuckman. Ryan Charles Tuck. Darren Marcus Upton. Bradford Gregory Valentine. Frederick Watson Vaughn. Brooklyn Shanoel Veazey. James Daniel Vinson. Contessa Delora Walker. Nicholas Winry Warlick. Lawrence Lee Washburn. Frank Allen Wasser. Anne Michelle Watson. Jenny Lee Weaver. Alexander Robert Welsh. Thomas McMillan Whitley. John Jameson Wiles, Jr. Bradley Noble Wilson. James Matthew Wilson. Grace Natalie Whitty. Daniel Seckinger Woodrum. Sarah Lynn Wooten. Denise Yen. Martina Amir Yusuf. Dana Patrice Zellman.
The class of 2012.